Hi there, I'm William Earnhardt with another quick Christmas season devotional for you. And this one comes from Luke chapter 10, beginning with verse 38. I'll be reading from the New Living Translation. And this may not be a story that we would really associate with Christmas, but I believe there is an application here that is worth looking at. So, we'll start here with verse 38 of Luke chapter 10. And Jesus and the disciples continued on their way to Jerusalem. They came to a certain village where a woman named Martha welcomed him into her home. Her sister Mary sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he taught. But Martha was distracted by the big dinner she was preparing. She came to Jesus and said, "Lord, doesn't it seem unfair to you that my sister just sits here while I do all the work? Tell her to come and help me." Verse 41, but the Lord said to her, "My dear Martha, you're worried and upset over all the details. There is only one thing worth being concerned about. Mary has discovered it, and it will not be taken away from her." In the story, Martha is preparing a dinner. She's working on preparing things. And yes, it's time consuming. But she's putting her, instead of spending time with Jesus and giving her time to Jesus, she's putting her time into the meal, into something that she plans to give Jesus. Mary, in this story, is simply giving Jesus her time. And that's what I want to share here. The thought I want to share is a lot of times when we're thinking about Christmas gifts, what to give someone. The most precious gift you can give somebody is your time. Because if you think about it, time is the substance of our life. Our life is made up in time. So when you give somebody your time, you are literally giving them your life. There's no more precious gift than giving somebody your life, your time. And so when we're thinking of things to give, I remember the cartoon, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And when all the things were taken away, that they still saw that Christmas wasn't about those things. Christmas was about time with each other. And so I always thought that was a very valuable lesson in that cartoon, although later I did realize, as everybody else has realized too, that cartoon never makes any reference to Jesus or Christianity at all. But still, the point is still the same, that time is the most valuable thing that we can share with each other. I remember several years ago when Barry Switzer was let go as the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, which was a long time ago. And I remember when I was living in the Fort Worth, Dallas area at the time, there were a lot of people that weren't crazy about Barry Switzer. First of all, he came from Oklahoma, and there was a big Oklahoma-Texas rivalry, so that put him at a disadvantage right there. And then there were other people that didn't like his coaching style and the way that he disciplined his players and so forth. And so anyway, when he was let go, there were some people that weren't all that crazy about him and were glad to see him go. But I remember reading in the editorial section of the Dallas Morning News, a lady had written in that she had a son who had a disability, and they had been invited to a party in the Dallas area where there were going to be a lot of socialites, a lot of celebrities, and one of the celebrities at this party was Barry Switzer. And she wrote in how her son was excited to meet him and some other people as well. And she talked about how the other people would meet him and just pat him on the head and keep going. She wrote in that article to the paper that Barry Switzer sat down with her son and spent a good 45 minutes just talking to him. Not rushing off, but sat down one-on-one for a good 45 minutes. And the lady was writing in how much that meant to her son. You know, Barry Switzer had plenty of money, but she was excited not that he gave her son anything. What meant so much to her was that he gave her son his time. And again, time is the most precious gift we can give somebody. You know, I don't necessarily remember every gift I've ever received in my whole life. But what I remember more than Christmas presents is I remember the time I spent with my family. The holidays, worship services, family worship, going to ball games. As a matter of fact, I don't remember who won those games necessarily. I just remember that I was with my family. That's what mattered. And as a matter of fact, I remember back in the 70s and 80s, Tulsa, where I was growing up, had a Major League Soccer team called the Tulsa Roughnecks. And when they would go to the playoffs, I would go to my neighbor's house and we would watch the playoffs on their color TV and everything. They had a nice TV. But anyway, we would watch the game together. And I remember that I always was happy when the Roughnecks would win one round of the playoffs and go to the next round and go to the next round. One year they finally went to the championship and won. And it may sound silly, but honestly, the reason I wanted to see them keep winning wasn't so much that they would win the championship. I was enjoying spending time at my neighbor's house. And I wanted to see the postseason keep getting extended so I could keep spending quality time with my neighbors. It was the time we spent together that was so valuable, not whether my favorite team won the championship or not. And so I can attest to the fact that time is the most precious gift you can give. So this Christmas, as well as thinking of things that we can see, you know, there's a lot of lonely people this year. A lot of people feel isolated. A lot of our older family members, as well as probably younger family members, a lot of our church family, a lot of our neighbors in our community, would just love it if we spent time with them. Give them a phone call. I realize that, you know, we're not all able to get together personally, but a lot of these people, more than anything, would love a phone call. And not just a quick, how are you doing, goodbye, but an actual visit on the phone. Ask them questions that'll get them talking about themselves. You know, especially a lot of older people. As older people, we'll tell the same stories over and over, not because we forgot that we told the story already. We love telling the same stories over and over because when we tell the story, we get to relive it. Give somebody the gift of being able to relive some precious moments in their life by sharing them with you. This Christmas, give the most precious gift of all, your time. And thank you for joining me. I'm always glad to give you my time. Thank you for sharing your time with me in this video. And also, I'd always be glad to hear from you and share more of my time with you. You can always reach me at racer3@gmail.com. You spell out the 3, so it's RACERTHREE@gmail.com. God bless you, and I hope you're having a very blessed Christmas season. Take care.